You remember this, right? Back in 2019, a single tweet basically set the internet on fire. It just seemed like this wild, almost comical real estate pitch. But what if I told you there was way more to it than just a laugh? Today, we're going to dig into that story, and you'll see it's actually a high-stakes game of global strategy with trillions of dollars in the future of our tech buried deep, deep under the ice. So let's get into it.
And it all started right here. The President of the United States just publicly floats the idea of purchasing Greenland. The reaction? It was immediate, and pretty much everyone dismissed it. Denmark, which has sovereignty over Greenland, called the whole idea absurd, and, the world's media pretty much agreed with them.
I mean, you can just imagine the late-night monologues, right? News outlets everywhere treated it as this bizarre, almost surreal distraction. The general feeling was pretty clear. This was a completely laughable idea from a leader who was, well, known for being unpredictable. But, as we're about to see, the story was far from over.
And here's the thing. While most of us were laughing, some very, very serious people in Washington, Beijing, and Moscow were definitely not. No way. They saw right past the headlines and understood that this seemingly clumsy offer was actually shining a huge spotlight on one of the most strategically important pieces of real estate for the 21st century.
So to really get why this is such a big deal, we need to look beneath that massive ice sheet. I want you to think of Greenland not just as some giant frozen island, but more like a buried treasure chest, one that's filled with critical resources that literally have the power to reshape the entire global economy.
Okay, let's just start with a number, and it's a big one. Based on what we already know, the estimated value of Greenland's mineral wealth, and get this, that's not including its huge oil and gas reserves, is a mind-blowing $2.7 trillion. We're not just talking about gold or diamonds here. We're talking about the fundamental building blocks of our modern world.
Now, the real key here, the crown jewels, if you will, is a group of materials called rare earth elements. This is a group of 17 elements that are absolutely essential for pretty much everything we rely on. The smartphone in your pocket, the electric car you might be thinking of buying, even the advanced guidance systems in fighter jets. The bottom line is, if you want to build modern tech, you need rare earths, period.
And here is the problem. Right now, China controls about 90% of the world's processing capacity for these critical minerals. That gives them an incredible amount of leverage and creates a huge, huge supply chain vulnerability for places like the United States and Europe.
And this is where Greenland storms back into the picture. It ranks 8th globally in proven reserves and is home to the Kanischfeldt deposit, one of the largest on the planet. And look at these numbers. It holds deposits for 43 of the 50 minerals the U.S. considers critical to its national security. It is basically a potential one-stop shop to break that dependency on China.
All right, so let's peel back another layer of this whole puzzle. The value here isn't just about what's under the land. Because of climate change, a massive new opportunity is literally opening up on the sea, creating something that people are already calling the new Suez Canal. You see, as the Arctic ice melts, new sea lanes are opening up. For the first time in human history, commercial shipping can reliably cut directly across the top of the world, connecting Asia and Europe through routes like the Northern Sea Route. And the economics of this are a total game changer. A trip from Shanghai to Rotterdam through the Suez Canal, that takes about 48 days. But if you use the Northern Sea Route, that same journey gets cut down to just 33 days. That's a 15-day savings, which translates into billions of dollars in fuel and operational costs. Billions.
And where is Greenland in all of this? It's right in the middle of it all. It's the gatekeeper. Its geographic position means it overlooks and basically controls access to these new passages from the Atlantic Ocean. If you want to control these routes, you need a presence in Greenland. It's that simple.
And don't think for a second that other powers haven't noticed. Way back in 2018, China declared itself a near-Arctic state, which, if you look at a map, is a bit of a stretch. And they announced their Polar Silk Road initiative. This is a very clear signal of their intention to be a dominant player in this new maritime world.
So, after that very public offer to buy Greenland failed, did the U.S. just walk away? Not a chance. Instead, it pivoted. It shifted to a quieter, much more strategic approach, using what we call soft power to secure its interests.
You see, U.S. interest here isn't new at all. It's just getting way more intense. The military presence actually started way back in 1951. But after that 2019 offer, look what happened. The U.S. followed up with an economic aid package in 2020, and then, in a really significant move, renamed its key military base in 2023 to honor Greenland's heritage. That's a very clear diplomatic signal.
And it's not just about nice gestures. This right here, this is a memorandum of understanding. It's a formal agreement between the US and Greenland to work together on developing those exact same mineral resources we were just talking about. This is how the US gets access without having to buy the whole island.
And let's not forget the hard power. The newly named Pitafix Space Base is the Pentagon's northernmost installation. It's a critical hub for missile defense, space surveillance, and satellite control. It is, quite simply, America's fortress in the Arctic.
So when you step back and you look at all the different pieces, the incredible resources, the new trade routes, the critical military assets, what you're really seeing is a modern version of the great game. It's a geopolitical chess match, and the board is the ice itself.
The goals for each major player are crystal clear. The US wants to secure its supply chains and maintain military oversight. China needs those resources for its tech and wants to establish its polar Silk Road. And Russia aims to control and profit from the northern sea route that runs right along its coastline.
An expert named Rebecca Pincus really summed it all up perfectly. She said that Greenland sits at the intersection of global competition with China and a new technological revolution. In other words, its importance is massive, and it covers everything from economics and trade all the way to defense.
So it turns out that absurd offer to buy Greenland wasn't the end of the story at all. It was just the opening move. It forced the entire world to pay attention to a region that is quickly becoming a central stage for 21st century power dynamics. And so the real question we're left with is this. In this quiet, frozen competition, who makes the next move?